If you are playing Mage and want to learn about animation canceling with God's Whip, then you should probably watch this video. I'll link it down in the description. But there's a person who mentioned melee canceling with Frenzy. So I'm just gonna basically explain how that works. So if you're playing melee, specifically Dark Runner, there used to be an animation cancel with Frenzy. That unfortunately doesn't work anymore. And the old video made by Zazens, it was a Frenzy cancel with the Stalker's Mark cancel. The two things about that is that it no longer works because the Frenzy animation cancel was to cancel the triple slash animation. The old triple slash, it was basically you once you press triple slash, you slash 3 times and you're basically stuck in that animation three for the entire 3 slashes for the entire time and you can't do anything else. But they changed it now so that once you press it once, you slash once. If you press it again, twice, and then third time at the end. So that's no longer needed for Frenzy. And Stalker's Mark, they changed the animation so that it's no longer a shot from the bow, but instead it's essentially you're putting a spell on them. So there's no longer a bow animation to cancel really. So I'll do the animation cancel that Zazen did, the old one, just to see that in effect. So what you do is that you pop all your buffs, you go in with charge, triple slash once, you pop frenzy into Stalker's Mark. Then you go into with the overwhelm, into a precision strike. You backdrop into behind enemy lines. Then you triple slash 3 times and you walk backwards with the Shadow Smite. So that was the old, basically the rotation you would do in terms of trying to cancel with Frenzy. But like I said, that's no longer needed because triple slash has changed and also Stalker's Mark is now basically this animation right here. That's it. There's no more bow animation. So that doesn't mean there's no more melee animation to be able to cancel anymore. In fact, there's actually a ton more, but it's only relying on one skill, and that skill is behind enemy lines. So how behind enemy lines work, or all animation cancels in general, is that they work off of global cooldown. So when you see, if I thwart right now, you see all my skills does a rotation around them, and that's my global cooldown. So if I backdrop though, there is no global cooldown because backdrop doesn't have a global cooldown. See, as you can see, the green text literally says this skill has a reduced global cooldown. Now the same thing goes for teleport right here. So teleport also doesn't have a reduced global cooldown. So all these spells with a green text that says this skill can be used during global cooldown or doesn't trigger a global cooldown, that's all the skills you can use to during your animation cancel. Now for melee players, there's only one skill that you can use. So first thing you want to use is behind enemy lines. This is a skill that's going to allow you to anime cancel everything. So what behind enemy lines does is that when you cast it, as soon as you cast it, it starts the global cooldown, and by the time you arrive at your destination, the global cooldown's already over. So that means as soon as you land with behind enemy lines, your spell that you want to use afterwards will immediately go off. So we could do that, demonstrate that real quick. So I'm going to behind enemy lines and then go straight into Terrifying Roar. So behind enemy lines and then Terrifying Roar right there. So this essentially demonstrates that you could use this combo with Banshee's Wail and Terrifying Roar. So what's really cool about going Shadow Blade is that if you Banshee's Wail as soon as you land from behind enemy lines, you instantly pop Fear on the enemy. So if you land a direct hit on them, you instantly pop the Fear on them with Banshee's Wail. Now for Battle Rage, if you're going straight Dark Runner, obviously you won't have Banshee's Wail, but instead you could use um, Whirlwind Slash. So what Whirlwind Slash does is that the first attack of Whirlwind Slash, it trips your target. That is slowed. If the target is slowed, it trips. Okay, so behind me in lines applies a shaken effect, and shaken is basically essentially a slow with more properties. So what you do is that you go straight into behind me lines into Whirlwind Slash like that, which is basically instant. So as soon as you hit that, you will trip the target. So that's really basic and simple. So that animation cancel is all you really need for melee, and to my knowledge, it's the only reliable animation cancel. I don't think there is another animation cancel for um, Dark Runners specifically, or melees in general. So you could use this animation cancel with essentially anything. You could go behind melee lines into hammer toss right there. and you can stun them, and then you go straight into charge and trip them, or Shadow Smite and trip them. So that's the gist of animation canceling with behind enemy lines and melee in general.